There we go. This way it'll be available if you ever need to go back. I'm going to just say what we've already gone over just for the recording. So we've already gone over number 2. What is Mr. Gill's most important rule? Whatever you do on one side, you do to the other side. We went over the 2 steps for solving a 2-step equation. You start with the constant that is on the same side as the variable. So a constant is a number that's not with a variable. So the -4 doesn't have a variable next to it. The 13 doesn't have a variable next to it. The 5 does have a variable next to it. So that's called a coefficient, not a constant. So we started with the -4. We did the opposite math from there on. So we added 4 first, then we had to do it to the other side. Then we had 5 times w. So the opposite math was to divide by 5. So we divided by 5 on both sides. That's how we got the answer. So here's the warning now that that's caught up. You're in a line, so you gotta hold tight. So here's what some people did on the quiz. Let's put all our backpacks, jackets, everything but pen, pencil, and paper on the floor or under our desk or something, please. So a lot of you on the quiz, well, I should say a lot. Quite a few though. And I don't mean, whenever I say that, I mean all my classes. I'm never ever talking about just one class because I don't remember specifically. A lot of students said, well, man, I know that if I just plug a number in, I can solve for whatever is supposed to go in for a number. Like, I'll give you an example of the mind reading trick when I solved it. So I, in my head, said, well, you know, if I put a 4 in here as their original number, I'll just plug 4 in. 4 times 3 is 12, and then 12 subtract 2 is 10. Boom, got the answer. I just plugged a number in, and eventually you'll get the right number. Unless the number's not an entity. Like, I don't know too many people that are going to guess 17/5, or even if you make it a decimal, it's 3.4. You're not going to guess 3.4. And if you do, it's going to take you a while to get to that point where you guess that number. You have to know the steps. Don't count on being able to just plug a number in and solve. I got a few people that are doing that. Eventually, every answer is going to be a fraction, like a decimal number. You're not going to be able to do those. And you're going to wind up getting off to a good start on equations, but then you're eventually going to wind up not doing so well because I'm going to change how difficult the answers are. So make sure you know how to follow the steps. Yes, sir. Oh, were you? I thought you were reading. All right, so there's a quick warning. I'll mention that over and over again. You're going to probably start to see some answers that are not nice round integers on your very next quiz, very next exit ticket, which is this Thursday. So here's the definition for 1, and then I'm going to have you actually do some problems. So for number 1, you need to put this in your own words if you don't understand what I'm saying. Somebody had, I think it was Sarah. Oh, so here's the last step. So those went away. So we had W equals 17/5, or 3.4 if you convert it. That's what we solved out and got, yeah, W equals 17/5. So here's what I'm about to tell you about solving for a variable and what it means. And there's a very specific reason why I want you to think of it this way. So write exactly what I'm about to write at the start, and then you may need to change it. Solving for a variable means, so if you don't know how to spell solving, here's the word solve. You get rid of the E, and then you put ing instead of E. So solving. Solving for a variable means, and the word means is just, you know, MEANS. Solving for a variable means. That way, if you didn't write the question, you'll still know what this is referring to. It means you're just trying to get the variable all by itself on one side. All you're trying to do. Basically, you're getting rid of all the numbers that are on the same side as that variable. This applies mainly to a two-step equation, but when we get into more complex stuff, we'll change it. Yep. Solving for a variable means. I'm using extra words, so you can write them or not. It means that you're just getting the variable all by itself on one side. You're getting rid of those other numbers. Like we had a -4 or subtract 4, and we had a 5. We just got rid of those. We did the opposite math to get rid of the 4, and then we did the opposite math to get rid of the 5. We're just getting rid of those numbers that are on the same side as that variable. Now, that's not critical to two-step equations or really even longer equations. It will be very important for a lesson that we do where you have a bunch of variables in one problem. Are you talking about bathroom now? Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. When you come back in, grab one of those worksheets. Thank you. So now, everybody, if you didn't already grab it, it was on the bellword. Grab one of those worksheets up front. One of these, it's just one page, front and back, but one page. So if you didn't grab it yet, which I don't think anybody did. I'll be honest, I don't remember what the line was. Just you two, I think. No. Anybody else? Oh yeah, you never did go change, did you? All right, do you want to go ahead and go now? Now's a good time to stop for change. I don't have the pass in still, but just tell them that you're changing for admission. All right, so here's what we're going to do. If you think you can get started and start working on those, there's some of them you should be able to do based on those two steps. Like they look really similar to this. Actually, I'm going to tell you to circle something right now. So these are the ones that are really, really similar to this problem. There's no fractions, basically. So circle these. I mean, you can kind of tell them there. But number 3, number 9. Then on the back, there's quite a few of them. 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 21. There, all those. So you should be able to start working on those.
But we're on the front page.
Well, what was it? What was it on the first page?
On the first page was
Just 3 and 9.
Yeah, sitting up to the last page, and the other page was 13. Want me to stop on the paper or like in a book?
You can do it right on the paper. That's fine.
13, 14, 18.
All right, so here's what, if you have no idea right now how to solve a two-step equation, which is a few of you, don't think you're in the only, trust me, I've been walking around all day long looking at papers. There's a lot of people that have no idea what to do as the first step. I'm going to give you a different first step before even solving. So, on your worksheet, so same worksheet, not in your notes, because you should already have it in your notes, but on your worksheet, you'll notice that there's enough room kind of on the far right side of the paper to jot some notes. Here's what you're going to write. You need to write all of this stuff that's kind of in the little brackets. So from steps to solve two-step equations all the way down to the definition of a coefficient. Don't worry about the numbers at the bottom. I'll erase those. Oh yeah, you got to get a worksheet if you didn't get one. Damn. All right. So again, if you have no idea what to do right now, you need to copy all of this down. If I don't see that copied down when I get to your paper, then you get a 0. If you've at least copied that, now again, if you know what you're doing, you don't have to copy this down. If you think you can start solving the equations, just start solving. I gave you the ones that I thought were the easy ones. But if you have no idea what to do, then that's how you start getting some credit for the day. It's just copying that on your worksheet, not in your notes. Because I don't want to have to keep going back and forth from your notes to your worksheet. And I don't want you to have to keep going back and forth from your notes to your worksheet. So just, like I said, on the sort of in where you have some blank space over here, just write it down. It should be able to fit all of that in on the right side. I'm going to go over, just go to another one. I'm going to go over adding positive and negative numbers with a little example in there. What's that?
Because I get the message that's going, this happens, what do I do?
Where you do the opposite, well, where you figure out, again, here's what I need to see. I'm not worried about your math. You don't know how to add, positive, now, I mean, you need to know this eventually, but for today, I need to know you know the 2 steps. Just come up with an answer. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong, and then do the next step. Hopefully you're writing in pencil so we can correct it, but don't sit there and try to figure out how to do math. It's about the steps. We'll get the math where it needs to be. And I'm going to give you an example of how to do some of the math on here in a minute. So those of you that know how to solve, you should be solving. Those of you that have no idea what to do, you should be copying that down. So that when I start walking around and I see that on your paper, I know you need help getting started. I don't want 2 people out changing at the same time. So, who's out late? I heard it back. Oh no, that's on your own time. If you had a practice or something and you need to be out there a certain time, you're walking home, you know, right? Got all day, man.
Can I go up to the bathroom?
Okay, you're after, I think, Brandon's class, is that right?
No,
No, B's after you. Well, first, I think, oh no, Tyler went out, so. What's that? No, no music yet. If you guys show me that you got this down, then yeah. But until I feel comfortable that you're getting it, no. Because music is a distraction. Everybody's so good with it. No, you don't. Try it. Try it every year. All right, so I'm going to start walking around and helping the people that can't even get started. So if you know some of the steps, I'm going to probably skip over you for a little while. Negative divided by negative. Now when you add them, then it's, you add it. Well, those are the easier ones, I said. So I want you to write the definitions. You got to write this constant and coefficient definition. You're good then? Now you need to write the steps down too. Steps to solving. You're doing fine. Try it. So, I mean, you can write that stuff down. You know what you're doing? Tell Colossus that he can write it down also. So you need to copy all of that. Copy that on that paper, on the same paper. Oh, okay. That's fine, you know that. So I'm gonna kind of help you and then you can help me.
Tell me it was 41.
So what is a constant? Right there. Whenever you know, you got everything you need about this, it's constant. So out of these three numbers, which numbers are not with gradient? Yeah, those two. That's your first step. Which one of those two numbers is on? So our first step is start with a constant that is on the same side as the gradient. Which one of those is on the same side as the gradient?
I don't even remember the first stuff. Well, I know the rest
Well,
of
you
the
can
stuff.
tell me how to determine the size. What determines the middle of the left side? What do we do? What do you do? Well, first, draw that. That determines the size. Draw a line down. So now, those two constants are the same size.
It was him.
That's the number stuff.
He did.
Well, yeah, that's. So now, that's our starting point. The next step.
Even like at the beginning, I didn't
So yeah, we do the opposite.
That's how you always involved in every
Did
conversation.
I have you in third period in sixth grade positive truths?
You got yourself involved.
Addition. So you need to do the opposite of subtraction. So
You were talking to me, right?
well, first you're gonna add 7 to this side. That's where we can set this up. Oh, no, we can't do that. You're adding 7 under
That's not
each.
a
We're gonna get
But
rid of
it's
all
with
that.
my life. Why did they have to take me?
Well, we're gonna come to that one next. So first.
No, I have a great
start
class.
here. Start here.
That's not even how you say it.
Now, when you opposite that, this is subtraction.
You have.
Right below that, directly below it. You're gonna say plus 7. That's the opposite.
You got problems. So we all got problems. No, so mine are
Good.
inside.
Yeah.
Mine are like yours. Or
I'm gonna go over how to do these two in a second.
What is normal? Huh?
Now, let's buy number one rule, solving
I'm not failing.
No worries.
I failed math. I almost put algebra. I got smart.
I got middle five with these marks.
Yo, definitely you don't have to. You should ask me that too. You're like, what is more? He knows that. He knows that, but what's 3 times 7? What's 3 times 7?
You guys.
See, that's different. See, no, that is easy. You have to, I guess it's 3 times 7. I'll learn it. Yeah, so what is 3 times 7 times? Yeah, exactly.
Five. So, if we do
I mean, if you didn't hear it.
add 7 here.
And I'm so happy that I'm so happy I
Here's what I'll do.
track 31.
Are you asking me all the answers on that?
All the ones
I got it.
Help me get them too, cause I'm not
you
using
should have.
How do you know the answer to my answer? I'm not even that smart. I don't know how to use yours.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to circle the number that you start. That's it. So you gotta figure out what are the constants. The most constant one.
I know the basics.
And then you wanna pick the one that's the same size or equal size.
Oh, I
After you're gonna start. It's simple, all of it. I gotta move on. You're fine. You're too needy. You need to trust yourself. You're doing fine. Oh my goodness.
But ask him, do you have to convert it to a fraction if it's decimal?
Oh, actually, if you do plus, then you gotta do plus there. It's the same exact thing on this side.
Why ask him if it's wrong?
Okay,
That's three.
now, the math's off a little bit. You're doing
Yeah, she's doing better.
opposite here.
Algebra.
So what is
At least not. It's just more.
At least you don't know what that means, cause
Yeah,
I'm
it's not.
I would still
I'm
give
like
you.
slow and no way.
I was smash that.
Like my math is slow and mine is.
I'm like, see, if he said writing, I would understand. I get like our other math.
Then half around.
I'd rather do writing than I'd rather do it essay than do it.
No,
That's the crazy math.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
She's like, we're not gonna fit it. I was like, what is that? I opened the door. I was like, what the fuck? It's so sad.
So again, you know, just starting.
I wanna bring
I was talking about. I don't know what that. What are you?
You've got that question. We went to the doctor. Has been. You're not done with this. We learn different. That's what we do. Someone got called to the gun system. My first word was Alright, bro, the doctor hit me in the head. Actually, no. The doctor hit me in the head. Do you remember that I what? From where? No, you meant it. You meant it. I kind of remember a little tiny thing. I went from here. I went from High Point from here. What class were you in? I don't remember. That was like I was in kindergarten. Kindergarten when I was here. That was finally. Did you have a teacher? I was 9 years ago. Yeah. Did you go to here? I have memories. All I remember is I had second grade and 9. She was my first.
I'm gonna go over that one in a second. I don't know.
I only have one.
You know, I'm logical, so if it seems logical, I like that. You're fine. You're in good shape. Well, you guys kind of talking about the answers together.
Yeah.
It's easy if I'm walking around and say, hey, what did you get for?
I only
And that
got
way, you
one.
know,
Did
if
I
you
get
both
this
got the
one
same
right?
thing, pretty good chance it's right.
Cause like that's the only one I did that I thought it was.
Well, it would be the opposite math. If you take the right number to start with, you got to do the opposite math. You added 7 again.
Oh, I had to subtract.
Yeah. Oh, phones up. Phones should not be out. You still have an X over 4.
It's so rare.
Here's the problem. Let's say it wasn't 4.
I don't like sitting on the front.
Answer. Now
I mean, it works.
It works, you don't pay attention to sitting.
And that's why I usually go to school and I just start looking back. You know, I look at very distracted, looking that way, and then.
Because on this side, you're getting rid of the four. Again, if you do it on one side, you
I got my answer.
just want to know what the answer was. So again, if you get that wrong, that was an easy one.
What is 31 minus 31 minus 6?
Well, you just literally.
So, next time, I can teach you how to subtract it. It was a plus. I mean, I use a calculator.
Again, I understand you're doing the same thing with the bars. You're getting it to a point where you can just figure out the answer.
I forgot that.
I want you to point
I forgot it. Like, I'm not to use it. I thought I was thinking that was your answer. That's like your
My teacher never let me use a calculator. Miss Jones, never let us use it. Miss Jones would be like, yeah, we're gonna use a calculator. Don't worry. When we needed it, she'd be like, oh, we're not using it.
Starting point. You just left or right. All right, real quick, I'm going to do a very basic math lesson.
I didn't even get it.
Have a seat real quick, Alex. Yeah, go ahead. This is not super important. Okay, hold on just a second. I want to do a quick math lesson about like just basic math, like basically adding positive and negative numbers. Because every class, I've got half the class that know how to do this, at least. All right, so let's do a quick visual. I love visual examples. So there's a problem, some of you have already done it, where the end of the equation, the end of the equation is this. Might be number 3, maybe. Yeah. So, as part of the problem, if you do it correctly, you're going to wind up starting by adding 7 over here. Well, if you add 7 on one side, oh, a lot of you are not drawing like a line. I haven't emphasized that.
I thought it was 0
Mike.
because it's negative 7 plus.
Oh, it is. But we're gonna give a visual example of that. So, what you do then is whatever you do on one side, so whatever's over here, you wind up adding 7, and you get this. We also add, okay, I feel like I'm yelling. So, this is a very basic math problem, but it's a little confusing because you got the same number, and that, for some reason, that tends to confuse students. So let's talk about it. Who wants to be the bully in this example? Ooh, me. So many people did it. I only had one person in the other classes. I got like 5 bullies in this class. I'll be honest, I don't know which one of you 3 was the bully first, so I'm just gonna go with Brandon. I think he might have outraced you guys a little bit with the hand. So Brandon is a bully, right? Well, you definitely weren't first. One of those 3 shut their hands shot. So Brandon's a bully. Who's like this person he would take like money from that's super nice and really? You wouldn't let him take money. You wouldn't let him take money. You wouldn't let him take money.
Yes, I would. I literally would. I would have looked this teacher earlier.
That's a little, there's a word that says that I shouldn't do that. I'm going to do it anyway, because it's probably true. Although typically you're right, a bully wouldn't normally take it from a female. He'd take it from another guy, like a smaller guy or something like that. He thought he could take. He's not gonna fight a girl.
Mr. Gill, you remember when he said Remember when he said that? He said Zaid.
Naive.
That.
Yeah, he says that.
What?
All right, so let's get back to the example.
Oh,
So, Brandon's a bully. He's gonna come up to Natalie. We're gonna pick on her. He's gonna come up to Natalie and he's gonna go, Natalie, because I'm a bully, you owe me $7. Give me $7. She's gonna be like, I don't have any money. And he's gonna say, you owe me $7 in it. You don't have $7. You owe me $7. What number represents what Natalie's at right now? She owes me $7. So she is at negative. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Brandon's waiting. I'm sorry. My bad.
I thought he was going to
He let somebody go in front of him. So again, we don't need him in here.
Steal the passport.
So Natalie is the -7. She owes money. Owing money is a negative. So if you don't understand a lot about owing money, this may not work as well. But if you do, then you will get this, and you probably will never have an issue with adding positive and negative integers again. Because some of you think about this rule. Well, isn't it if it's two negatives? No, that's multiplication in the division. So she's at -7. I, Mr. Gill. Actually, okay, we'll use Tyler. Tyler will involve you. I've been the nice guy. You're going to be the nice guy instead of the bull. Tyler goes, wow, I feel so bad. I do. I feel so, my heart hurts for you. And he goes, say what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you $7. So he adds $7 where Natalie is at. What does Natalie have to do with that $7?
The bully and she owes 0.
She gives the bully $7. Where is she at?
She's at 0 now.
She's at 0. Again,
Well, that's not good.
-7 plus 7 is not -14, not +14.
0.
She's at 0. If you think about negative and positive numbers in that way when you're adding, it's a little trickier with subtraction sometimes, but it works great with addition. You will never, ever have an issue, I don't care what the numbers are. If you're negative, then you owe somebody money. If you're adding a positive to that, then somebody's giving you money that then you then have to give up. Now let's say this. What if for some reason we would have added 4? Where would she be at?
-2. Or not,
Close.
-3.
Right concept, not right now. Yeah, she'd take that 4. She'd give $4 to Brandon, but she still owes him 3. So that would be -3. What about this? What if Tyler is super nice, or maybe he just doesn't have change, and he says, tell you what, I'm going to give you $10. Here, it's yours. Now where's she at?
She owes $3.
+3. Right concept, as long as you get the concept. So now she gives $7 away to Brandon, but she still has 3, so she's +3. So there is no set answer when you say is a positive plus a negative, positive or negative. It depends on what the numbers are. But use that money example. Yeah, let me grab my glasses and I'll start checking again. So we do have another lesson to do, but keep working. Oh, if I didn't mention it, this is your, I know I did mention, I hope I did. This is your exit ticket on Thursday for you guys. No notes. No notes. I'm going to pull 5, probably 4. Actually, I'll probably pull 5. One of them will be a bonus. So if you can get 4 of them, you can still get 100. Now, there also will be a definition. But if you get 4 of these right, assuming you have the definition in your notes, you'll get 100. If you get 5 of them right, you get over 100. But I'm not changing numbers or anything. But no notes. So that's why you need to be working at it right now to figure it out.
Do you have to complete the whole thing?
No, I'm going to pick 4.
Oh, okay.
Pick 5.
Today?
This is, no. This is just practice for. I'm going to give you a grade just for working, basically. If I feel like you were working and not goofing off, you'll get a good grade for today also. Now, I will say, if you're really trying, but you're really not getting it at all, which is rare, I can't give you 100% for the day, but I'll still give you a B.
So,
Like literally, I'm not.
Are you guys done?
Was there a specific one you were curious about?
No, it's
Same big number to the.
I'm listening to you.
Oh, you know how to do those like fraction things? This is the X.
Same thing.
Well, you got one more step. What's the math going on between 9 and X? If you have a number next to a variable, what's the math is? So what do you need to do? That? And you divide by what?
You might have done it wrong. I don't know.
Answer.
I just
Well,
do
you
it.
divide by 9 and 0
Five
by
big
9.
numbers, that's my big problem. You know how to do, oh, is it like 9?
Only thing I see is, and this is the mistake.
I don't know how to do that. Someone
Although
teach
you
me.
did it right.
Wait, what, for which one?
This is
I
Aug
don't know how to divide.
14 and 6.
So,
That's
you
only
just do like that one.
Everything else is really good.
So, one time.
Divide by negative. Oh, one quick thing too that I didn't mention. Come on in.
Subtract that, you get 5, and then you bring down. Or 9 times.
All right, one quick thing that I forgot to mention. Well, not forgot, I mean, a bunch of stuff I have to mention. If you have a negative sign in front of the number, this is -4 times x. The opposite of multiplying by -4 is dividing by -4. Make sure you remember to include that negative sign. And then again, whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other side. A lot of you are not including that negative sign. When you divide, you have to include the negative. I'll be the back there and say no.
I only did this one. I haven't done this.
Then that's not enough.
I gotta.
You've been sitting on one problem now for like 10 minutes.
I finished it.
No, I'm saying that was done a while ago. I saw that one came by earlier.
I stopped in this one.
I can't, I don't know what to do with negative.
You just do not understand number 16. Yeah, no.
Oh, you can.
Right,
Now, be careful.
But you
If there's a
did this
subtraction
part.
sign, you can't just.
What about your,
The subtraction sign is in front of it. That's fine.
Plus 13.
It's easy.
And then it's actually the same as the other.
I listening to you. Plus 15.
Thank you.
You need to get a move. Some of you have not gotten a whole lot done on these problems. You need to move on. Well, if I get to you and you say, hey, I need your attention now. I'm getting to a lot of people and, oh, I didn't know, I don't know. But you didn't write the stuff down. I said to write down if you're not getting it. That's a 0. I specifically said if you are not getting it, you do not know what to do. I better see this on your paper. And for some of you, you're giving me the I don't know excuse, but this ain't on your paper. That's a 0. I gave you an easy task to do to get a grade. You didn't do it. You sat there and you talked. Or you did something else. I'm not dumb. I know what you're doing. And you wanted me a long time ago to check something.
I don't know.
Well, there's one more step. I want you to, and it doesn't change.
Erase all.
But you need to know what the next step is. Even if it's a weird thing like a 0.
I'm telling you, I'm bad at math.
Show that. Here's why you show it. Let's say you do some math wrong. And you just
See
write
what
it down.
happened was,
You did it wrong. I can't.
I did it wrong.
Erase all that. You need 103.
The steps worth more points.
Where
than
did you get 103?
So if you're not showing me the steps, you can lose credit to make it happen. Make sure you're showing, even if it's simple, make sure you show it to me just in
You is
case
the
you
best.
make it happen.
Here.
Well, you're a bad.
They need
What do you
some
do with that
teachers.
Okay, now when you do -9, you put down, subtract.
12 times x plus 12 times 5. You actually have it right.
All I did was
You could.
Okay, so I.
That's
not
n
it.
doesn't go away. So it's
And then I'll go with them still.
Now,
and you actually have to divide by
Maybe you wanted to stay.
that's exactly.
You're dividing by the number that's all by itself. Never divide by the number that's all by itself. You always divide by the number that's the variable.
No, I mean,
But we're doing that to get rid of the number. So always divide by whatever number.
Subtract 13 from 1, or
That's like in every equation.
I know. All right.
So go back and try to fix a
If
couple
I
of
get
those.
this wrong, I'm gonna tell me.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some of the harder ones probably in a second. We still have a lot of stuff.
You're gonna put a 1 on top of that, the 0 put a 1. Now, and the 1 you're gonna cross it out, put 0. Okay, now what?
All right, so I need everybody's attention now. I got to do actually 2 more examples at the same time, kind of, and then I'll let you start working again. If you'll notice, a lot of these have fractions in them, right? And I didn't talk about those yet. We're about to talk about them right now. They're a little harder. They're really not that much harder. They're different, we'll say. Let's see if I have, that's not your sheet, right? Actually, I think it's this way.
But I did the thing wrong. I still have not right.
Well, hold that thought and I'll look at it. Where in the world?
V still equals 19.
Dadgummit. I went the wrong way. I don't think anything would equal 19 from what I remember. Here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's look at, first we're going to kind of look at them at the same time a little bit. So look at number 1 and number 5. They both have fractions in them. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, not number 5. Number 6, scratch that. Number 1 and number 6. They both have fractions, so now we're kind of stepping it up a little bit. It's not quite as easy as the other ones I just gave you to do. There's a big difference, too, in the type of fractions. In this, the only fraction is just the number with the variable. Like, that's it, just the variable divided by a number. That's it, that's the fraction. Here, though, the fraction is actually this whole thing. It's the variable plus some number, and then all of that divided by a number. That?
That's easy.
All right, what's the answer? What's the first step? Number 6. What's first step for number 6?
First step, all you gotta do is subtract.
There's not even a 2 in there. What are you talking about? There's not even a 2 in there.
Where did you get the 2?
Number 6? What do you think first step is?
I don't know, but I think it's like something to do with the
I don't know. If you don't know, then you can't.
I know that's just doing it.
All right, so here, I'm about to show you how to do these. You guys just guessing this stuff. Which I'm glad that you're engaged and you're trying, as opposed to just sitting there quiet. So there's 2 ways to do number 6. I'm going to give you both ways. There's only one way to do number 1. It's the same exact way you just did the other ones. It just happens that there's a fraction in it. What did we say the first step is to solving a 2-step equation? No, you don't start with the number next to it. You start with the constant that's on the same side as the variable.
That is on the same side as the.
There you go. That's why you take notes. So what's the constant on the same side as the variable in that? Positive 2, right? This is a constant because it's just 6, but it's on the other side. It's not on the same side where the variable is. So we start with 2. Well, now what's the second step to solving the equation? We do opposite math. So in this case, it would be subtract 2. Well, I wanted to know what the step is, not what the math is yet. But you both said it, which is good. Because he said the step, then you said the math. What do I need to do now? What most important rule? Whatever I do on one side, I do to the other side. So now that's what I'm left with. It's the same concept as all the other problems. It's just now this looks a little weirder.
It's dividing.
But we're dividing, right? That means A divided by 4. Then we do the opposite. If division is what's going on, we need to do the opposite. I wrote it as a fraction. I don't care if you don't write it as a fraction. The whole point is we're doing the opposite so we can get rid of that 4. Because remember, what does solving for a variable mean? What was my definition? What was my definition of solving for a variable? Just today we did it.
You just trying to get the number out of itself.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get this A all by itself. So I'm trying to get rid of that 4. That's why I multiply by 4 is to get rid of it. But if I multiply by 4 there, I got to multiply by 4 on the other side. So A is 16. Yeah, this is the rest of important. It is. All right, so I'm going to talk really quickly about it. Let's say you do these that are a little more complex, and you don't know if you did it right. This might happen for a little while. What's the answer to an equation mean? Solving means to get the variable by itself. What's the answer to an equation mean? Or what's it represent? Well, it is the variable, but once you've got the number, what's that number represent?
Sorry, no, 11.
You're like
So what?
and I literally saw you kind of do that.
What you said?
I said, so we solve out and we get A equals 16. What's that 16 represent? What is that 16?
What A is?
It is, but how do I know that? Maybe I made a math, maybe it's not. Maybe A is not 16.
Plug it in.
Well, then you have to plug it in.
16 better be the number that if I plug it in for A, or if I substitute it in for A, it better make the right side equal to the left side. So let's do it. What is 16? So I'm plugging in, literally getting rid of that, plugging in 16. What's 16 divided by 4?
4.
4. What's 4 plus 2?
6.
Is that the same thing that's on the left?
Yeah.
Then we know we did it right. That's what the answer is. It's the number you put back in, and it'll make the left side equal to the right side. Oh, I was gonna write. Yeah, I don't need to write it. So I do need to show you number 6 though, because that one's a little tough. Each one of them gets a little. Are you waiting for the bathroom or? Okay, hold on just a second. So there's 2 ways to do this. It's a little tougher to use those rules. You actually can't really use the rules the way it's set up because we don't really have a constant in that problem the way it is. So we can't start with a constant. We can take one more step though, and then we will, and that's the step I'm going to show you. So what this means is this is everything. This 5 plus x they're both being divided by 6. That's why they're both above the 6. So here's what we're going to do. If they're both being divided by 6, we're going to break them out into 2 different things and show that they're both being divided by 6. The -1 doesn't change. That's on the left. There's nothing going on over there. Both the 5 and the x are divided by 6. That's why they're all over the 6. And then we just say, what's the math in between them? Well, it's whatever's in between the 5 and the x. Now you have a problem that you can follow the 2 steps. This is the constant that's on the same side as the variable. So I'll do this one for you because it involves using a fraction. So I would do what? What's the math that I would have to do to get rid of that 5/6? I told you where to start. Well, no, because there's no variable in this. This is just a constant. Opposite of positive 5/6 is subtract 5/6. Well, if I do it on that side, I got to say subtract 5/6 over here. Now, don't freak out if you don't know how I did this. I'm going to convert this number into 1 fraction because it's really a mixed fraction. It would be -1 5/6. I'm going to change it into -11/6. Don't worry about the math, just understand the steps. So now, what's the math going on between these 2 things, the x and the 6? Like what's going on? Not what do I need to do, but what's going on? X over 6 is what math? Somebody said it. I think.
Multiplication?
Well, doesn't multiplication look like,
Subtraction.
oh, this is multiplication. 9x is multiplication. That's division. So if x is divided by 6, what's the opposite of that? Times 6, multiplying by 6. So I would multiply this side by 6. Now over here, when I multiply by 6, I am going to need to put that in a fraction also, because I have a fraction over here. And it'd be multiplied times negative 11/6. So on both sides, the 6's actually wind up going away. And you get negative 11 equals x. I'm not worried about you finishing all the math out on those. If you can just break it out like this, and then from there do the right steps, I'm not worried about your math. Question?
What happened to the math?
Well, so the final answer would be negative 11. So the 6's went away because I multiplied by 6 on both sides, so the 6's all cancel out. So I get negative 11 equals x. But again, I'm not worried about you doing, just if you know, I see you guys sneaking peeks all the time. You think I don't see it. So if you know, okay, I break it out like this, I subtract, and then I multiply, that's all I care. I'm not concerned whether or not you can do the math after that. Now there's one more way you can do this. If I'll come around, I'm not so worried about these. This is the highest level we've gotten to. I'm not spending tons of time on this today. We'll do more of this on Thursday too. Here's another way you could do this. I could just get rid of that 6 right now. If I have a denominator of 6, I can get rid of the denominator by just multiplying. Here, let me do it in a different color. I'll do it right under it in a different color. If I multiply by 6 right now, it gets rid of that denominator immediately. I'm really doing the opposite math. This whole thing is being divided by 6, so I'm doing the opposite and multiplying by 6. That means that 6 is going to go away. But I also need to multiply by 6 over here. Because again, whatever I do on one side, I've got to do it on the other side. 6 times negative 1 would give me negative 6 equals 5 plus x.
What do you do? Which one?
What's that?
Which one do you do?
Which way? Whichever way you want. If you're just like a process person, and you just want everything to kind of be the same way every time, I would break it out into this, and I would do it that way, because then you're going to get the steps correct. You might get the math wrong that way. The math is harder, but I don't take much off from math. If you do the 2 correct steps after this, so you show me that you subtract this, and then you show me that you multiply by that, even if you don't finish the math on either side, that's all you do. You don't even finish the math. I'd give you at least 75% credit on the problem, maybe more. Probably, actually, no, I'm sorry, more. I'd give you way more. You'd get probably a B or an A on the problem, even though you didn't do any math. So if you just said subtract 5, 6, multiply by 6, and you didn't even finish the rest of the math on either side, that's fine. I'm more worried about the steps. You'll have eventually, when you do take the EOC, well, one day you won't have a calculator at all. So I was going to say you'll have a calculator that does fractions, but one day you won't. Anyway, those are, there will be one of those on the quiz, but that'll probably be the bonus. So if you get the other 4, you can still get 100%. And the other types, just if you're not sure, are something like this, where you have a constant, but then the other term is a fraction, and then something like this where you don't have fractions at all. If you can do those 2 types of problems, you can still get 100% on the quiz on board. Assuming you get the question that's like the definition or explanation. All right, so you can get back to work on that.
I finished.
Did I do rational? I didn't finish rational or irrational in any class. So, oh, remember this is recorded. I'm still recording, so if this confuses you, you really want to get it, you can go back and try to watch it. I mean, all you have to do really is Google if you Google, or not Google, if you search in YouTube and you just write solving two-step equations, you can get like 1 billion videos that pop up. I mean, this is the most common algebra thing there is, solving two-step equations. Some of them will have fractions, some of them won't. Like if you really want to make sure you do well on that quiz on Thursday, there's plenty of help you can get online. Or G2s. No notes for this exit. I'm giving you the exit ticket. Those are all problems. If you can do those, then you're fine. You can practice those 100 times and you're going to get the same note. I'm not changing anything. You just don't have notes. Listen. Wow, okay, so you don't start with this. This is what you start with because this is on the same side of the variable. You always start with your constant, which in this case this is a constant. This is a constant, but it's not on the same side as the variable. Like, yeah, like here you started with 1, and that's right. And here you started with 4. That was you start with -5. It's all, you always work, like you ignore this side really, and then once you said +5, when we do +5 over here, that's when you have to do something on the other side. You always work from the side that has the variable. I'll get you guys to work with maybe somebody in, although the challenge with working with somebody in the ESOL rooms, they don't know how to do math. We got one guy that knows how to do math, we just speaks Spanish. So yeah, so I don't know why we don't have a Spanish speaking person that's actually decent at math. I'm just looking. But here, that's done. I used to work with that one. Of course, it's gonna be watching. I mean, remember, this is only second day.
I wrote the notes here, so.
Are you an Avid?
No, not Avid.
Did I ask you that already?
No.
Because Avid has to do stuff in like different colors and highlight.
No,
Oh, you did the division? In all honesty, I haven't even looked into my answer, but 6 goes in 11, 1, yeah. Well, yeah, I don't want phone calculators. No calculators, no even if you did, I got calculators. We will never, just let you know, this is not, hey, I need your attention. I was just using my phone as a calculator, doesn't work. First of all, you don't get calculators for this stuff, like I said over and over again. Second of all, I've got calculators when we need them, we'll be using them. We won't be using phones. So that's not going to work. Trust me, I've had people say that before, and I know they're not using their phones to just calculators.
Yeah.
You gotta have a variable somewhere in there. There you go. So you would be 9n equals not negative. You did it right. I'm not sure. I would give you full credit. I'm not sure why you scratched that out. Yeah, you did it right. Oh, well, I mean, you don't do any, let's clarify that. You don't do any math, but it matters. That's what you're solving.
That's the same thing. That's
Yeah, no, I got you. You're right, you're right. You don't do anything with it. It's just gonna be left over. Yeah. If you want to do that as a first step, that works. You can do that as the very first step. And you're ready to start.
Oh, yeah.
You know, could have done way more than that, but that's not what there it is. So you're dividing by 9 here. That would be a I mean, you look like again, you're kind of mixing all the steps together. So just keep them separated. Because here's what I'll do on this. If I see you did all the steps, I hear you. If I see you did all the steps, but you got your math wrong somewhere, then I can give you credit for the steps. I'm having a little trouble seeing your step and not showing everything. So if you get it right, I might still give you full credit. Probably if you get it wrong, you get math error, you give you credit for I see the step. I just show all the steps and I take babies. Win? Is that, I'm going to give you 5 problems. You know which 5? They're going to be straight from that sheet. So the more of those you do, the better off you are for the exam. So I think you're pretty good.
Oh, no, that was
We need to get you there's tons of times. I hope you're all working, especially if you're not getting this. Here's what you need to do. And you copy. And you need to copy down the other piece.
It's right here.
When? Oh, it's just like a little tweaking. Little small. You did one, were you here last Friday? That's what we did. We did that last Friday. A little thing. So Malaysia. Oh boy, it's gonna take. Oh wait, no, here we go. Oh no, that's not it. No, you don't have. Do you have the constant and the coefficient? Oh, okay, good. I just don't want to keep further from your notes. Okay, so here we go. So you need to do what in the first step? I want you to read off what you wrote. Oh, so let's look at it. Listen. What constant is on the same side as this?
I don't even know. Yeah, we don't know.
This. So now, you identify where to start. On the next step. Next step.
I was everyone.
What's the opposite now? Do that way too fast. Right? So I know now you laugh, but that's a grade in my grade book when you haven't done anything. So you want to get some more points, you better do a couple more problems, because you're just sitting there chatting. Oh, I think we're inside. Yeah. Oh, you can step out the hall. I don't care if you show it a different way, but what step got you from here?
I really felt that's so big. Oh no, that was
Bigger than Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said I need to get rid of that. Let's subtract this. This is subtraction. You see subtraction.
Yesterday,
This is addition. You see addition. There's only one math operation.
Oh, yeah, that's why
So,
he came out, just because, I went in my school.
So, I'm really gonna show up in the line. Don't have one left.
Free top.
Yeah, you got it. You don't get that, you shovel past. Right. Got to understand the super basic stuff, and that's it. There's a number of extra variables there. So therefore, if you say like this, the next thing will be like 5. That's it. Well, you gotta use this. These, you know, these went away. That and that. That's why we did the opposite. We get rid of those. So- I hope I didn't hear what I thought I heard. What did I multiply?
I'm used to living on that. I live over there.
Like, there are brackets, but if you go like downtown, maybe, but like, people that try to act ghetto, like, right across the
But I'm worried about the steps. So you need to do one more for me. Take any one of those 4. I don't care which one. Come back and check.
Oh, yeah. But he's so strong.
So right number.
Yeah, I'd be so
starting
good.
with the direct term, opposite. This is simple. That'd be the opposite. Go over to start.
That's what you want to
So this was a little tricky. Everybody can see a sign there. You don't see a sign. Positive numbers always. Not even close. See the negative sign. If it's negative, they'll put a negative sign. There. They put a negative sign in front of it. You don't see a sign. You need to get some work in on Thursday. So it is, because you missed time last class. Really? See, that doesn't apply when I said a million times we never pull phones out. Maybe. You would have asked earlier. Here's what I want you to do. Since I don't get over here enough, you're doing pretty well on this stuff. I want you to work together more.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you want to just, that's your boy. You need to teach.
You're the one that almost
Give
fainted,
them
bro.
answers.
Your face literally turned red.
You need to do well on the quiz on Thursday. I think you know, you're fine. So you know you need to learn it. Yeah, okay, tell you what, work with him on one right now, show him. Don't, but again, don't just say do this. Ask him what to do. There you go. Perfect. You keep it. You're not turning this in. Remember, you can use this on quiz. Well, no, you can't use this one. But you might use it on another quiz when you do. Phones up. Now too many people have had their phones out, so we're not gonna take them out. We don't ever take phones out, ever, unless I have said, take your phone out. That's like 4 or 5 people that have their phone out. Yeah, we did. Very well. Several people got like kind of some extra credit. You were one on today, so. Did you finish the whole thing? I saw you had almost all of it. Oh, actually, no. You did fine. Natalie, I know you did. Sarah did. Kayla, I think you had, how many did you get? You didn't do both front and back all the way, did you? I think you have a lot of them.
I did too.
Yeah, that wasn't you.
I can't wait for it. I like the people in it.
All right, have a seat. I gotta tell you one thing real quick, because we're getting close in this class already. At some point, if I'm still having phone problems, Mario, you need to translate this to him because he's one of them. If I am still having issues with people getting on their phones constantly before they've asked me or I've said it's okay, because again, I feel like you should still be working because when I see the quiz grades, they're not all 100. And a lot of you that are on your phones are the ones not getting the 100. So if I at some point have to do this, oh wait, 6th period, right? That's fine. 6th period. No phones. That doesn't just mean what it means right now, like don't take your phone. That means you will never touch your phone in this class. We could have an hour of free time, won't be on a phone. And I did that last year with the majority of my classes eventually. So stop pulling them out. You're going to hurt yourself and the rest of your classmates. I'm not going to have people constantly failing quizzes on their phone. That is one of my biggest pet peeves when you're more concerned about jumping on your phone than you are the grade you're getting in this class. So just straighten it out. Straighten it out on your own, and I don't have to.
What my quiz grade was?
It's in focus. I mean, if everybody leaves, I'll look it up. I'll put it up on the board.
You don't got like.
I mean, it's in focus. I'm not going to pull up. No, have a seat. We don't line up at the door. Have a seat. You can wait till it rings. Yeah, I don't care. We're just not by the door. Jamin, you're doing the same thing I just said don't do.
They get my way. I can't go back to my
I knew you were going to have an excuse. Here, there's a seat here. Here's a seat way over here then. If you can't get by them, there's a seat way over here.
It's too far.
It's just something about when people stand up. So you gotta push All right, you guys have a good rest of the day. I'll see you in 2 days. Are you getting that stuff? You didn't have a bunch of them done, so I'm not sure where you're
I
at.
got the first.
Right. So you know your requirements to stay on
Who was
basketball.
that kid that ran out the door first? Jesus Christ,
Oh,
he
I
slammed your door up
have
against the
no
wall.
idea.
Boom! I was
What
gonna
did he
run
look
after
like?
him. He was a little white kid.
Oh.
He tore down the hallway.
Huh. I don't know.
Alright, well.
Yeah, just again, I trust that you understand your requirements and you'll, like some kids, they could not get anything. You doing well? That you behaving? You get into class on time? All right. Good. I'm going to trust that you will talk to me and say, hey, let me feel, I need a little more help. And I'll, you can always come in at lunch, like if you weren't getting something, like, especially for you, I mean, literally, you could come in the day of an exit ticket. We can sit for 15 minutes during lunch. Exit tickets are typically short, sometimes they're not as short. And I could say, okay, here, we'll do a couple problems, and then you'll see it again an hour later.
Okay.
So if you ever need that, just let me know. Try to let me know ahead of time. But normally I'm in here at lunch. All right, man.
Alright, well, yeah.
You guys
if you do
practice
practice with it, I'm not gonna go because today's my birthday actually.
Hey, happy birthday. Did you put your name up here?
Yeah, I wrote it up there.
Oh, man, I didn't look.
It's cool. It's
I
fine.
did see it. Are you the one that was in that? No, that's Willow. Oh yeah.
Yeah, right there. But it's fine. So.
Happy birthday, then, man.
Thank you. See you soon.
All right, see ya. Oh shoot.